welcome back to Hannity. So for weeks, right here in this program, we've been warning you, the American people, that the corrupt mainstream alt-left media is completely biased against President-elect Donald Trump, and perhaps the most one-sided, dishonest offender of this media bias is CNN. Now let's take a look at their negative coverage just from last night, one night only.
When I first heard that he was tweeting about something that was on this broadcast, a number of tweets, again, factually incorrect tweets last night, I kept thinking, doesn't he have like a briefing book on ISIS to be reading? He is the president-elect of the United States. I mean, should his behavior, should his behavior change more? Do you think it's sunk in that he is president-elect of the United States?
President-elect Donald Trump announcing more cabinet posts today while continuing to attack the media, particularly CNN, for pointing out that his claim that there were millions of fraudulent votes is baseless. Speaking of interactions with the Fourth Estate, it has been 125 days since Mr. Trump took questions from reporters in a formal press conference.
Why should he go to CNN? I mean, you guys were colluding with the Clinton campaign. Now, sadly, that's not all. Since the moment Donald Trump became the president-elect, the majority of CNN's coverage has been so overwhelmingly negative and in some cases just downright nasty. Watch this.
This was a white lash. This was a white lash against a changing country. It was a white lash against a black president in part.
I want to recognize a lot of our viewers at home. This is frightening to them, and I think we should acknowledge that. This may feel to a lot of our viewers at home like a national emergency. Why? Because Steve Bannon has been described as someone who has been described as a white supremacist, as someone who is an anti-Semite.
Inflammatory words about Islam from Donald Trump's choice to be his White House National Security Advisor.
This hour, hateful groups emboldened by Donald Trump's election. Online opinions moving offline.
He doesn't like people setting fire to the flag because they were protesting him. He doesn't mind if someone stands up and says Sieg Heil enough to complain about that.
He doesn't understand that he's a steward of how you do things in America to keep it open and free. And that's the concern.
Here now with reaction, the co-host of the hit show The Five, Eric Bolling, Kimberly Guilfoyle, in other words, EBKG. That's what we call you guys around the building. So, you know, you listen, you watch that every single night. We know that CNN colluded with the Clinton campaign. We know they were seeking out questions for Wolf Blitzer from the DNC to ask Donald Trump. They were feeding questions to Hillary before a town hall.
They got caught with their pants down, and it wasn't pretty. That's all I gotta say. It's bad.
That's very descriptive, KG.
To the world.
Yeah.
Really, and
It's
so
true.
they were exposed for the hypocrisy, the fact that they were, as everyone makes fun, CNN Clinton News Network, because they were in the bag for her. They should hashtag every time they do a tweet, I'm with her hashtag, because that's how really they were. Now they're upset because their candidate didn't win, and they're trying to trash talk for, President-elect Donald Trump, who had overwhelming support, not only in the Electoral College across this country in so many counties, and lit up the country red because people were tired of the mainstream media, tired of politics as usual, and wanted somebody who was going to actually do something different and drain the swamp. Bolling's favorite thing.
Eric, they're making a big deal in the liberal media now about what they call fake news.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the New York Times, if you're Politico, and you're allowing only Clinton to edit a piece you're writing about her before it goes out, and not doing the same for the other candidate, you're fake news. If you're feeding questions to one candidate, that's fake news. You're not a news organization.
Fake news is entertainment, and it's up to the reader to figure out what's fake and what's real. Go look at the source, just look where it's coming from. It's what you point out, when the Washington Post, when the New York Times, when Politico have stories that are only geared towards trashing one candidate and only geared towards propping up the other, that's even worse than fake news. That's propaganda. That's exactly what that is.
Look, this is an opinion show, but we say we're an opinion show. There's a whole variety.
Yes.
You guys smile a lot on that
look
show.
what happens. Fox News, we just posted a massive number of ratings for November. We beat everyone in all news, not all cable, not just all news, all cable. Why? Well, we had people who loved Trump, and we had people who didn't love Trump, and they're able to voice their opinion. It's when you get to the one side, the echo chamber, that you start. What you're basically doing is you're saying, I want only half the audience.
But the thing is, people have a choice in who they watch, and as you saw with all the record numbers for Fox, because we are presenting both sides, because we do have a great news division and great opinion.
Here's the question I want to get to, though. So I've been making the case that the media does not have the same stature they once had. They've been exposed as taking a side. So why should Donald Trump have a White House press room in the traditional sense, where you have basically 50, can you imagine 55 Sean Hannity's, Eric Bolling's, and Kimberly Guilfoyle's against Obama? Because all these news organizations supported Hillary. Why did they get that coveted seat, highly coveted seat, when they've taken sides?
I like the idea of everyone. You bring it to the table. You're a news organization. You get access, and you present
Even
the
if
way.
it's proven to have colluded?
Yeah, listen. Look what happened.
Why are you standing up for that?
Because here's what happened. We had almost the entire print media against Donald Trump. You had most cable news
And
against Donald Trump.
media.
Well, yeah, and the mainstream media and
network.
But here's my point. And he rose above it, and people saw
He didn't
through
play
it.
their
In
game.
some-
He has to go there
in
with
some
Son, he didn't
instances,
play their game.
He saw through it to the point
But
where he
here's my
goes,
question.
look at this dishonest media right here. He'd look at the camera and do this.
Okay,
and
but that's at his
it
rally.
resonated, though.
Okay,
called him
it
out.
did. So he's got to do this fake dog, phony pony show with the media every day that he knows hates him, that's not going to cover him fairly, that lies about him.
Didn't
I mean,
show his
sometimes they're right,
rallies.
but
Didn't show his rallies, didn't show the support for the movement, and that's why everyone feels so duped. But guess what? Blame the people that you chose to watch that weren't accurately reporting what was really happening in this country, and you woke up with like a shock and awe hangover on election day because you're like, wait a second, what just happened? Did we miss all of this? Because you weren't looking what was happening across the country.
I think unless and until they apologize for